Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Welcome to GoPowercat's 2020 Signing Day show. I am Ryan Gilbert. Today here we'll be talking with Jake Rubley, Andrew Leingang, and some other athletes who have signed their letter of intent to play football at Kansas State University. We'll also be hearing from K-State head coach Chris Klieman, getting his thoughts and opinions on the signees. But first, let's head out to Ryan Wallace, who is standing by with Jake Rubley.
Pleasure to be joined by Jake Rubley. I think it's safe to say probably the star of this class, at least if you talk to the subscribers here at GoPowercat.com. Jake, you're kind of the face of this class, one of the first commitments that Chris Klieman was able to get. But I want to start a little bit with high school for a moment. For those that are unaware, you transfer from Colorado to Iowa pre-COVID or pre the COVID season here, because for a while there, it didn't look like Colorado was going to have high school football this year. But why Iowa and why West Des Moines Valley to begin your senior year?
So yeah, when we kind of got word that Colorado was not going to have a season, my dad came to me and he was like, well, you want to play? And immediately, without even thinking about it, I was like, yes, I want to play. And he's like, well, the best man at my wedding. So my dad actually grew up in Iowa. He grew up in Davenport. And so his best man at his wedding, Ryan Cooley, is a coach at West Des Moines Valley High School. He's a D-line coach, great program. They've won like 5 state championships. They're always a top 4 team. And he was like, we'd love to have him. And my dad, they kind of talked about it, and he asked me, and I was like, well, let's just go check it out. And then my dad was also trying to start his business out here, trying to like expand his business. So it was a great fit for both of us. So I could play, my dad could run his business. It could be kind of a 1-2 punch kind of going thing. And we went out, and it was great. I mean, great fit. I loved being with the guys. Coach Swenson's a great coach, and it was great to play out here for a little bit, and it was fun.
Was the living situation different for you? Because, I mean, obviously it's a new school, but then, it sounds like your mom wasn't with you or anything like that. I mean, did it take a while to get used to?
Yeah, it was a little weird. Kind of made you grow up fast. I mean, my mom, she would kind of come in like, she'd be in and out a lot, same as my dad would be too. So it's kind of like weird. Like sometimes you wouldn't have anyone here, and sometimes there'd be a full house here. So it was weird that way, but I mean, we made the most of it. It was fun.
As you said, kind of a good preparation for college life a little bit. Now, what's weird is you end up playing a couple games, and then the Iowa Athletics Association comes in and, in a cruel way, decides that you're ineligible for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Does the time off where you're not able to play as a senior, in hindsight now, do you think that maybe hurt you in terms of preparation for K-State, or in a way, did it help you that you're just able to say, okay, high school's over now. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on K-State?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I kind of looked at it both ways. When I was playing, I mean, it was great coming in here and learning the offense and learning a brand new scheme with brand new coaches. And that's what I'm going to have to do at K-State early in the spring too. So it was great to, get chemistry with these guys, build relationships with these guys, and go to war for 3 weeks when I was only here for 2.5 weeks. And then 3 weeks later, I'm playing a football game. It was unbelievable in that way. But now that I'm looking at it, there's always the what ifs. Like, what if I got hurt? What if I did this? And I wasn't able to play in the spring at K-State. So there could have been like an injury or something that went on that would have prevented me to playing and furthering my springtime in Kansas State. That would have been a huge waste of time. But at the same time, I was kind of got to work after that when they called me ineligible. I was lifting every day. I was throwing every day. I was still practicing. So that was good. I got that. I just wasn't playing. So I was throwing every day, I was lifting every day, and I just treated it like I was getting ready for college. So it was actually not bad.
Now, when I've had a chance to talk with other guys in this commitment class, literally almost every single commitment that I've spoken to says your name when I ask about leadership, about who's taking the reins of this class. First off, I guess, two-part question. Do you agree that you feel like you're the leader in this class? And where does that leadership stem from?
I mean, I think since I'm one of the first commits in this class, that's kind of that initial start. I kind of know everyone, and everyone that joins, I kind of first want to welcome them in. In quarterback, I guess, kind of gets the stereotype of being a leader. And I think I try to just make everyone be comfortable in the class itself and make sure everyone is friends with each other. And so as a quarterback, you just got to be a leader. And I think that being that leadership role carries on to the season and players. And I just want to get out there that, I'm all for this class and all for these guys.
With this class, how close has it gotten? I know that I don't know if it's the players that set this up or if it's Coach Bratt that always sets up that kind of group chat that you guys are in. Yeah. But, how close has the group gotten and kind of give the fans an idea of what the conversations are like between you guys throughout the year?
No, I think we've gotten real close throughout this whole year. Going back from COVID, we were talking the entire time. There was times we were up till 3 a.m. playing Call of Duty and like in lobbies and stuff. And we got like fantasy football going on, always talking crap. Like, I beat your team, you beat all this stuff. I'm actually in the playoffs, big week. My team's in the mid-playoffs, which is huge. But so we've become real close over this period, and we've gone through highs and lows as a class. I think we're watching this team now at K-State play, and we're like, look, we got to go in there. We got to be leaders in our class, and we got to go work hard because, we got to go earn our spot and help this team out.
So if you're the leader then of this class per se, who is kind of the class clown or maybe the personality of the group?
I would probably say Brayden Wood. Brayden Wood's always been that way, no matter what. He's just a class clown everywhere. RJ is one of those guys too. He's funny. They're when you get them two in a room together, they're pretty funny to listen to.
And you and Brayden obviously go way back, I believe, from your Colorado days too. I wanted to ask you, since you kind of touched on with quarterback, you're kind of expected to be a leader. How about pressure? Does quarterback prepare you to handle the immense amount of hype and attention? And do you feel it? Do you know every day when you go out there that kind of eyes are on you? How have you learned to handle being this major hyped recruit and kind of, as I said to kick off this interview, the star of this class?
Yeah, going off that, just kind of pressure, it's kind of weird. You don't really feel it. I guess I kind of turn it off. My dad always says, he's like, playing quarterback, there's the lowest lows and the highest highs. And he's like, you never want to be on the lowest low or you never be one of the highest highs. You always want to stay right in the middle. Because every time you're just confident, cool, calm, and collective is when you play the best. If you're too low and you're trying too hard, you'll always play bad. And if you're too high on yourself, then you get cocky and then you'll start playing bad. And so you just kind of block out the side noise and you just kind of go bury your head down and get to work.
I was going to say, what is kind of the Jake Rubley secret to that? Is it kind of staying off social media? Do you allow yourself to read the headlines, or are you just wired in a way where you might read it, but it just doesn't even really cross your mind, I guess?
Yeah, I'm not really a big social media guy, me personally. I'm on Twitter a little bit, and I just kind of tweet about a lot of K-State stuff. But I guess I kind of just block it out. I kind of just – outside noise in my mind, it's like, if you're not trying to help me out, then I'm just going to block you out. I don't need that in my life, kind of thing. And I guess the outside noise doesn't really get to me personally. It's more internally with my teammates that I try to build up. And if it's all about confidence, if you're confident, then the pressure will relieve because then you start playing better.
And K-State was obviously one of the schools that you visited as well. When it did come time to make a decision, Did that visit stick out in your brain? Was there something about that visit that really helped propel K-State, or was there other factors involved besides just that visit?
Yeah, no, just the people in K-State are unbelievable. You know, the people surrounding, everyone's heartwarming. They're unbelievable types of people. And I really love this coaching staff that really kind of drew me to K-State. I took a visit and I was like, wow, I really like these people. I took another visit and game day and I was like, I can really see myself. And it kind of came down to the end of the season. It was like November-ish. And I was like, all right, I want to commit by New Year's. And I was like, you know, people were like, oh yeah, K-State. But I'm like, I just can't get this K-State thing out of my head. I'm like, they're building something there, and I love the people there, and I wanted to play for them.
And so, for the record, it did come down. Was it K-State, Colorado, and LSU, or
Yes,
were those were the top three? I just wanted to get that out. I'm pretty sure that I knew that those were the three. But Colin Klein, I think, was a guy that, if I remember correctly, was recruiting you as a freshman.
Yeah.
How important was that to you picking K-State, that there's a guy that you've known since the 9th grade that you've developed this relationship with?
No, especially with Coach Snyder, you know, retiring, and we're getting Coach Klieman, you know, as like a recruit, you're like, I mean, whole new coaching staff, that means I have to build a whole new relationship. But having Coach Klein stay and him having me recruiting me since freshman year, we built that relationship for four years now. So it was like, it was picked up where we left off. You know, I didn't really have to rebuild a relationship with that coaching staff. And that was a huge plus. And then I came in and met Coach Klieman and Coach Mess, and I was like, wow, I really like these people.
With Coach Mess and the offense that he runs as a quarterback, what's your opinion of it? What do you like so much about this offense where you said, I want to be a part of that?
I just love the way his offense is, he'll spread it out. He'll go 5 wide, or he'll pack the box and bring 3 tight ends in. He's got everything he does is basically all football into one offense, which as a quarterback is huge. You know, you're not always just running these spread offenses, or you're not just running the ball every play, you know? So and I want to, you know, hopefully one day play in the NFL, and as an NFL football player, this is the type of offense you run. You got to run everything to beat these defenses, and that's exactly what Coach Mess does.
Now, this is an interesting question that I've really wanted to ask you in particular was, you know, some recruits might see Skylar Thompson, who, you know, may return now, and knowing that Will Howard is kind of there, and think, yeah, that's not for me, you know. Did the depth chart and competition ever cross your mind, you know, with those two guys?
Not really. I mean, you know, you have to – I mean, yeah, competition's there, but I love competition, you know. I mean, I know Skylar's been an unbelievable quarterback. I mean, he's played his butt off his entire time at K-State. And, I mean, going in, I love competition. I kind of bred for it. And I can't wait to compete. I love doing it. That's kind of what keeps me going every day.
Do you have a relationship with either of those two quarterbacks just yet?
No, I don't think I think I've talked to Skylar a little bit when I took my game day visit, and we were talked for just a little brief time. Awesome guy, it seems like. I haven't met Will yet. Okay.
You're going to be an early enrollee. I'm curious, kind of, what goals do you have set for yourself, not just for a career, but maybe from year 1 to kind of year 4, year 5, even maybe? What are Jake Rubley's career goals at K-State?
I want to win a Big 12 championship. That's my first goal. You know, I want to get with this class, and I want to build something great and win a Big 12 championship. I mean, the last guy to do it was Coach Klein, and I want to fill those shoes. You know, those are really big shoes to fill, but I want to do it. That's kind of my goals. And then I just want to, you know, I want to be a great person to this town and this city and the coaching staff and this team. So.
How many games were you able to watch in the 2020 year? And I guess even though maybe it didn't finish the way that you would like to, or even the guys that are on the team now would have liked to, what kind of things really stood out that you kind of said, I think we can build on that?
Well, I watched every game this year through and through. And earlier in the season, we were ranked, 17th, I think, is the highest we got to.
Yeah. Some guys were voting them 8th.
Yeah. No, we were at 17. And, I mean, we had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of COVID things. And, you know, we had some guys transfer. So we were ranked 7th team in the beginning of the season. And, as the season goes, unfortunate things happen sometimes where injuries and different things happen. So, I mean, the foundation is there for a really good ball club. We just got to finish this year. That's a big thing.
The idea of you in a backfield with Deuce Vaughn, are you pumped about that?
Deuce is unbelievable. That I can't wait to play with Deuce. He's unbelievable. He's, in my opinion, he's top 5 running back in the country right now.
How about, speaking of dynamic players, I want to go back to this class real quick as we kind of round things out on early signing day. Is there a player in this class? Let's count Brayden out because I know you know Brayden well, but is there a player in this class that you're personally excited about? Maybe you've seen some film of them or just know what they can do that you're really ready to see them in purple beside you?
Yeah, both the receivers come in this class, Brendan Hawkins and RJ Garcia. Those guys, I can't wait to build chemistry with them right off the bat as soon as they get here in the summer. They lights out speed, lights out hands. It looks like they run routes very well, and they understand the game very, very well. They're very smart kids, and I think progressively through the next 4 years of our lives, we're going to be very, very, very good together. Okay, let's have some fun with these last two here, Jake. Tell us something that we might not know about the recruiting process. Maybe it deals with Coach Klieman. Maybe it's something fun that you have with your future head coach. Maybe it's just something about the process that fans don't know. Is there anything funny, interesting that stands out through the 3 years that you've been recruited? That's interesting. That's an interesting question. Shoot. I mean, it's crazy what colleges will do for a kid to come to their school is all I have to say. I mean, it is, especially as a quarterback. I think quarterbacks are the worst of it because, they're always recruited as freshmen. I mean, I got my first offer when I was still a freshman at the time. And ever since then, and my dad was the head coach of my team. So they'd call my dad, and then my dad would call me to call them to have phone calls. And there was a time going to school where I didn't go to school. There was coaches coming in every single day, and I would have to meet with them for about an hour. We'd have a conversation. And then my dad would be like, oh, wait, there's a new coach in here. There was a time for like 3 weeks I didn't go to school. And you're always coming in. They're always coming to watch you throw. And it's just mayhem, especially in the springtime when the recruiting really picks up. It gets a little hectic. And so it was nice to get that over with. Yeah. Was K-State a breath of fresh air in some regard? I've heard stories that the conversations with Coach Klieman and his staff are different when you kind of have that car wash style coaching thing go through, that their conversations seem to stick out. Is that true? Yeah, they don't really pitch the school, which I've always kind of understood. Every team's like, oh, we're getting this, we're getting that, we're getting this, we have this, we have that, we have this. They never really pitch the school. They always just kind of pitch the people. And that was really cool to see. They're like, yeah, we have this person here, we have that person here, and we're going to build something great, which they always said to me, and that really stuck out. All right, last one for you, Jake. And I don't know if fans know this, but this is going to be a fun one. Manhattan in the last couple of years has hosted the Gronkowskis, obviously. They've already come through to see Glenn Gronkowski play. What are the chances, what are the odds of the percentage that you would put on K-State getting a visit from Frank and Sly Stallone, who are actually related to you? That would be I think that could definitely happen. I mean, if we really push that argument, I mean, I know my uncle's definitely wanted to come watch me play many times, and his wife and his daughters have been my biggest supporters ever. He has too. I mean, they've been unbelievable supporters, and I think we could definitely make it happen. We're going to hold you to that, Jake. You've put it on the record now. We're going to hold you to it. Jake Rubley here on early signing day at GoPowercat.com. Jake, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
GoPowercat.com here with Krew Jackson, a 2020 safety out of Queen Creek, Arizona. Krew, first of all, how are you doing today? And thanks so much for taking time with us.
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing over there?
Doing good. Appreciate you asking. First question for you. Like I said, you're from Arizona. So what made you want to come out to the Midwest and play football?
I think, the location, of course, it matters, I think, in choosing a program. But honestly, I think it was, Kansas State and the coaches and everyone there, I think they were enough, to I think it's a good thing actually to pull me out of my comfort zone, move states, move environments, experience something new.
What coaches at K-State have you been in talking with the most?
I'd say, I think I talked with most of the defensive staff quite a bit, but two of the coaches I talked with a lot would have to be probably Coach Standard, Coach Tui, and Coach Klanderman. I talked to a lot of those three.
What have you kind of gotten a role as to what your role might be? I guess a sense of what your role might be at Kansas State. Kind of what do they like in your game? What do they see in you? What are your talents and stuff like that?
I think one of the big things that they saw was given my length and height, that my ability to tackle. Oh, I'm sorry, my ability to tackle. So I think a role. I think I'll be, playing the role as sort of, a linebacker when I get to Kansas State.
Do you have any good relationships with any of the commitments in your class so far? I'm sure you guys probably have a group message or something going like that, but is there anyone that you're really clicking with? Maybe someone on the defensive side of the football, a safety, someone like that?
Yeah, we have that group chat. I don't think there's anyone specific. I think I've been able to form a connection with most all the guys in the group chat, even especially the defensive guys.
So let's go back to this just a little bit. What exactly was it that kind of separated K-State out from the other schools that you had offers from, like Iowa State, Virginia, Pittsburgh, for example?
I think it's just the way I really like the way that the coaches and the staff do things here at K-State. I think it's just a really good fit for me. Not just the football aspect of things, but the way they're gonna help me as just a person rather than just a football player.
When it's all said and done, when you graduate from Kansas State, what do you want to look back on and say that you accomplished? What goals do you kind of want to get done, day in, day out? What do you kind of want to get done at K-State?
I want to be able to get there. I think just work hard every day, and obviously become a better football player, become the best that I can be, and then with schooling, just study hard and make sure I doing the best I can and everything with school and football, and just having fun even too. I think it's a important thing, and to have a balance of these things, and I think just to have a good experience overall for college.
You talked about school there. What is your do you have a major picked out yet, and what are your kind of career aspirations outside of football?
So I don't have a specific career picked out yet, or even major, but I'm leaning towards more, a STEM major. If still trying to narrow it down from there.
So you've got, a matter of months now, I guess, before you come out to Manhattan. What are you trying to do? I know times are tough right now. You can't get out and do everything. But what are you trying to do to improve your game right now? You're in the weight room, doing drills, watching film. What is it that you're doing right now?
Yeah, I think I've been in the weight room already since the season ended, and getting out to parks or wherever I can with some teammates and some coaches if I can, and just working on what I can with the speed and explosiveness and strength overall.
So, have you ever been to Manhattan?
No, I haven't, not yet.
How tough was it, to make that decision to go to a college you've never been, and you already committed and you're set to come? How hard was that?
I think it was a little tough, but I think given the circumstances with everything going on with Corona and everything, I realized at a certain point that I was going to have to make this decision without being able to see everything that I may have wanted to, but I was given plenty of virtual tours and been able to see so many of the facilities and even the campus through like FaceTime, Zoom calls, and stuff like this. So I think I was still able to get a good view without having to visit to make my decision.
Is there anyone out there that's kind of a role model to you, or someone who you kind of like to model your game after? That's maybe a college player, an NFL player, anyone like that?
Yeah, I don't think I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about anyone specifically. I just try to play my game and do what I can to be the best I can be.
Gotcha. Last thing for you, man. Have you been keeping up with K-State? I know they kind of had a tough end to the season, but they had a hot 4-0 start to conference play. What are your thoughts on just watching those guys? A good amount of them will be back next season to play with you. What are your takeaways from just watching them on TV and stuff?
I'm actually really excited. Being able to watch them on TV, knowing, that I'm going to be able to play with most of these guys, I think that was a really exciting thing for me. And, they had a great start to the season. I think, even with the rough ending, I think that K-State is a great football program. I think, that I get there. Once I get there, I think that we're going to be able to, hopefully I'm going to be able to, help out, make a difference. And I think that K-State's going to be able to be a great football program. They already are. I think they're only improving from here.
All right, Krew Jackson, a 2020 safety from Queen Creek, Arizona. We appreciate you, Krew, taking time with us, and best of luck to you moving forward, man.
Thank you. It's great being here.
Joined now by Kansas State signee Marvin Martin. First off, Marvin, let's start way back in Mississippi, Vicksburg. Explain to the K-State Nation about how you made the decision to transfer your senior year to compete in Dallas.
Well, it started off by we had 3 head coaches in the last 3 years, so it was unstable. So, we were hearing about Trinity on football, and so we decided to move out and play for Trinity.
Now, when you get to Trinity, what was it about that program that kind of made you drawn to it, and how much did Deion Sanders play into your decision to join that program?
It was like that. It was hard because everybody competed every day, so it wasn't easy. And with dealing with Coach Prime, he really didn't deal with defense as much, so I really didn't hear too much coaching from him. He always focused on the offense.
Did you learn anything from him? I know you said he was mainly on offense, but did he ever come and maybe after practice or before practice just give you some pointers or anything like that?
He'll come give you a few pointers here and there, but it wasn't nothing too major.
What's that like playing on the same team as Deion Sanders? What's he like as a coach?
He's a hard coach.
So the guys at Jackson State are in for something special then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with your recruitment, you were a guy that really seemed like you exploded when you got on the scene at that Under Armour camp. Did you feel like you had a really good day at that Under Armour camp? Was that a special day of testing and competing for you?
Yeah, it was an okay day, but I ain't had the numbers I wanted. But, yeah, it was okay.
It was obviously very good in the eyes of the 24/7 scouts, and it wasn't too long after that you end up at Trinity, and Boston College comes knocking. Did you know anything about Boston College when they offered, and what made you commit to them initially?
I knew a little bit, but I committed because I felt like it was gonna be the best place for me to go.
How long after you committed to Boston College would you say K-State started knocking on your door?
About, I'd say, about a month.
Were you intrigued by K-State, or did it take a couple conversations for you to say, this is a program I'm interested in?
It took a couple conversations.
With Coach Klanderman, I know he was one of the ones that kind of reached out to you initially and kind of became your lead recruiter. What did you like so much about Coach Klanderman? Because it seemed like you guys clicked right away.
Yeah, he was truthful all the time. He talked to me every day, and he showed me that he wanted me to come to Kansas State.
What kind of things was Coach Klanderman and K-State able to do virtually for you that maybe was different than some other schools? Did you feel like you got shown around campus and got to see some things from afar since you weren't able to go to campus?
Yeah, so they took me to the locker room where they eat at, the stadium. They took me on a whole virtual tour through the campus or the school.
How much did the depth chart play into your decision with K-State? Did Coach Klanderman talk a little bit about the need for a nickel and the need for a safety?
No. So that really ain't come up in the conversation, really.
That's interesting, though, because they were still able to land you even without kind of pitching instant playing time and anything like that. Does that say something about that program that, they're able to get you without making a lot of promises?
Yeah, I can say it. I feel like it's going to be a great program for me, the way they run their defense.
When you talk about their defense, where specifically do they want to play you? Because, talking to Coach Hart at your high school, you're a guy that can play corner, linebacker, safety. Can you run kicks back too?
No, sir.
Where do you see yourself fitting in on the defense, though?
At the nickel position.
What makes you a good nickelback?
Because I can cover. I'm big and strong. I can cover the tight end. And I can also tackle. When it comes to tackling, I can also tackle.
Physically, where are you now as far as height and weight? And do you want to get any bigger, or do you feel like you're at a good spot right now with playing the nickel?
Well, I'm 6 foot, 175, and I know I got to get bigger to be there, play there, in that position.
Your mindset when we watch you on film, you're violent. You're aggressive. And you get into the backfield as well for a defensive back. Is there anybody that you kind of model your game after? Because I've talked to guys, and you have a little bit of Jamal Adams in you from the sense that you tackle well, you cover well. Is there a guy that you model your game after?
Yeah, I'd say him, yeah.
You like
I watch
Jamal?
him a lot. Yeah.
Have you ever trained with anybody back home? I know you've got a trainer back in Mississippi that has trained with some NFL guys. Have you soaked up any of that knowledge throughout the years?
No, I normally work out by myself, so I ain't really doing any of that.
What excites you most about Kansas State? Obviously, didn't have quite the season that they were hoping for this year, but what do you see with the future of the Wildcat program?
The fan base is crazy. Yeah, the fan base is crazy, and yeah, that's all I can say. The fan base.
How excited are you just to get up there and finally see the campus and see the facilities, see the locker room, put a jersey on, since you haven't been able to do that?
Very excited.
And one last thing, when I talk about getting to campus, you're a guy that obviously I know K-State was interested in you, and you were interested in K-State for the opportunity to get up there early. When did it become a priority for you to be an early graduate and get up on campus early?
Since 9th grade.
So getting yourself academically eligible has been something you've been working on for 3-4 years?
Yes, sir.
Have you found a roommate yet? Do you know who you're going to be living with?
No, sir. Not yet.
You are going into this blind, man.
Yeah.
But you won't be the only one. It's an odd year, and so everybody's kind of dealing with COVID as it comes. But Marvin, last but not least, man, what individual goal do you have set for yourself for next year, and what team goal do you have? Have you talked to these commits? What is the team goal for this 2021 class?
Well, the team goal for this 2021 class is to win the conference.
One last question, and it's a fun one, man. Do you have a nickname that fans can call you, and what number do you hope to be wearing in purple?
MJ.
MJ?
Yeah.
How about a number? Do you know
Number
your favorite number?
20.
There it is. All right. Well, you heard it. You heard it here first from Marvin Martin, signing with Kansas State on early signing day. Marvin, thank you so much for joining us on GoPowercat.com.
Life as a parent is nonstop. I'm so focused on keeping my family healthy that I barely have time to take care of myself. If this sounds like you, then you need to give Symbiotica a try. Symbiotica is a health and wellness company that empowers individuals to take ownership of their health with high-quality formulas and supplements crafted to boost energy, immunity, gut health, and more. Symbiotica supplements are made with clean, natural ingredients, and they don't contain any toxins or artificial ingredients. Because they were designed for us, busy parents. They're quick and easy to take. Just a daily dose for your energy, immune system, and overall well-being. It's made staying consistent so much much easier. And the best part? Symbiotica is having their holiday sale, so now's the perfect time to put your health in the driver's seat. Head to Symbiotica.com for 20% off with code GIFT20. That's CYMBIOTIKA.com with code GIFT20 for 20% off. Your health transformation journey starts now. Symbiotica Natural and Organic Supplements.
Let's now hear from K-State head coach Chris Klieman as we get his thoughts and opinions on this 2021 recruiting class.
Excited to announce 14 young men that have signed onto our program and a 15th that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But really excited for our staff to be able to bring these young men into the fold. It's been a challenging time, as we all know, and to think how long we've been recruiting so many of these some of these players, and the fact that none of them had an official visit. None of them we were able to go see at the school. None of them we were able to have a home visit with. Everything was done virtual. Everything was done via Zoom. A few kids have been on campus maybe when they were juniors, which obviously helped us quite a bit in the long run. But I know there was a handful of guys that we don't believe have ever been on campus, not even coming up on their own sometime in the summer or fall. And what a challenge that is. And that shows you the confidence that these young men and their families have in what we're doing here at Kansas State, confidence in the relationships that they have been building with Taylor Bratt, the recruiting staff, the position coach, the recruiting coach, myself, the head coach, that we were able to sign such a quality class in the limited resources and limited time that we had face to face with these guys. So thrilled for these guys. It's a special day. I don't care what kind of pandemic year, all that other stuff. What a special day for these young men and their families to know where they're going to college, to be able to be a part of the K-State family. We're excited because it's a great day for us at Kansas State to welcome these young men and their families. And so we couldn't be more thrilled to have these guys. And we had a pretty good Zoom this morning with a number of them and celebrated. We did something different that we hadn't done. We had cameras kind of put up all over Veneer, weight room, outside my office, trophy area, offices, and had a bunch of them on together and started to build that bond with each other. And it was a pretty cool morning.
One player in specific that jumps out at Chris Klieman is Gardner Edgerton's athlete, Devontae Pritchard.
Just somebody that jumps out at me that I was able to go see in person. I was able to go see Devontae Pritchard in person play when he was a junior. And I thought right away, there's a kid that is a Big 12 football player that will come and will strike you, was a really good athlete on offense as well, but on defense is where we're going to play him. And Devontae was a kid that jumped out at me really quickly it's going to be a phenomenal Big 12 defensive player.
Next up, let's hear what Chris Klieman has to say about RJ Garcia, a really skillful wide receiver out of Tampa, Florida.
RJ's a really talented player from Berkeley Prep, and his dad's a basketball coach, so he's grown up in the coaching world and understands it. Really mature player. He's put on some added weight already. Had a good season for them in his senior year. And he will be here in the summer, and we're excited about him, as well as Brennan Hawkins is a big body, is a 6'4" wide receiver that'll be here as well this summer. So, we feel good about adding 2 wide receivers.
When Coach Klieman was recruiting Devin Weathers, he was not really sure where he would put him on the field, but after watching his tape over the last senior season, it's pretty clear and obvious where he'll fit as a Wildcat.
Well, for starters, he comes from a tradition-laden program, and Webb City's been phenomenal for decades. And Devin was fun to watch because we didn't know to project him as a defensive back, a linebacker. We knew he could be a running back. And so at his size and athleticism, he's a phenomenal baseball player too, but at his athleticism, we said, we just got to get the kid in the program. We'll find wherever we can to put him. And then as you kept watching his senior tape unfold, it became more and more clear to us that he's that big back that's got great speed, great elusiveness, can run through arm tackles, that we're excited to be able to pair back there in the backfield and utilize him there and be a great special teams player. And I just think athletically, when you have somebody with his skill set and the ability to run and be physical like he is, he was going to be a can't miss and would help us somewhere. But we'll start him out at running back.
Lastly, while K-State did sign 14 players from the 2021 class, Chris Klieman did express his interest in utilizing the transfer portal.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to a little bit, but we're still having conversations with seniors. So we don't know where that's going to land with a handful of guys that haven't made that decision if they're going to come back or not. But, we, like everybody else, will continue to try to help build our roster and make sure that, we're equipped at all positions to be able to handle the tough Big 12 schedule for 2021.
Let's go out to Colorado now. We are joined by Brayden Wood. Brayden, how's it going today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. We appreciate you taking time with us. Let's get right to it. I think fans would probably care most about your relationship with Jake Rubley. Let's start with that. Overall, how is that relationship like, and what do you guys kind of have as far as a connection goes?
So me and Rubley have been playing youth ball since, I think, 6th grade. Played all the way up until, high school. Stayed in contact, throughout his recruiting process, my recruiting process. We stayed close for the past, 6-7 years. It's kind of crazy how we kind of ended up on the same team. You never would have thought, 2 young bucks, playing in Colorado ends up on the same, D1 team. So we kind of had the dream since we were little. And now we're here, and it's crazy. It's a crazy thing to, be a part of. It's just crazy to think about. But, me and him, our relationship's really special, just because, like I said, we've been playing youth ball. And, been building a relationship since. And he was kind of the number one hardest recruiter on me. Since, he committed early to K-State, and, I was still kind of on the fence at the time. So he was kind of the hardest recruiter out of, everybody, trying to get me to K-State, trying to get the Colorado to Kansas connection going on. So it's unreal to kind of think about where we're at now. It's been great.
Now, I understand there's a little story with the shirt when you decided to commit. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
What's the story behind this for those who don't know?
So for me, I wanted to commit that summer, and that was an official date that I've set up. And I still wasn't, 100% sure where I was at the time. And so when I kind of made my mind that I'm going to Kansas State, I didn't really have that much apparel because, I was planning on, going out there right before, the pandemic really, kind of hit. I was supposed to go out to a spring practice, that's when I was getting all my gear and stuff like that, kind of like a normal visit, get your gear and everything. And so, but that all hit, didn't get a chance to get stuff. So we ordered a lot of Kansas State stuff when I kind of knew, this is the place where I want to be. I think maybe 3 weeks before. So we ordered a bunch of shirts. I ordered, got the sweatshirt and everything, and it got back ordered because of COVID until the next week after I was planning on committing. And I had a news channel wanted to, do my recruitment live there. So we kind of had a hard set date, where I was going to do it, and I wasn't going to let, a shirt, be the decision of why I'm pushing back my commitment date. So I called up Rubley and I was like, hey, I need a shirt. I need a hat. I need something where I can, commit with. And he's like, no worries. So my mom went down that day, got it, came back up. I wrapped up my commitment video that day while my mom was going to get the shirt, came back up. 30 minutes later, the whole unzipped the hoodie, and I revealed that I was committed to K-State.
Well, let's switch gears here and talk about your game a little bit. For someone who's maybe never seen you play, what should we expect from you on the field? What are your sort of strengths? How does your game kind of roll?
You can expect a huge motor out of me, especially I've been starting since I was a freshman in high school. And I kind of had that mentality. I wasn't the biggest kid, throughout high school, at least my first 2 years. So I had to, give myself an extra step over the other kids that, are bigger, stronger, faster. And that's where you'll see me wherever the ball is, I'm 100% going to the ball, trying to stop it. That's kind of how I am. That's kind of how I've been, my whole football career. I'll always have that extra step. I'll make sure that guy in front of me, even though how tired I am, I will make sure I will beat the guy in front of me. That's kind of my hugest thing in my game, that kind of resents the dominance and, relentlessness. I think it's a huge part of my game. But I think another kind of thing that makes me a little better than the next guy in front of me is I think I'm well-rounded in the, film book, and just great football knowledge in general. I'll watch close to maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, a game film a week to see whoever I'm playing against, the tackles, the O-linemen, whoever I'm going against, seeing tendencies, wherever I can get that extra step to be dominant and help my team, win. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I've been doing my whole entire, high school career. And, it has showed off. My junior year, I had over 116 tackles as a D lineman, which is unheard of. And, I think it has a lot to do with, me getting in the film books, me scouting the other team and just giving myself that extra step to, beat the other opponent, help my team out, getting that gap, taking up double teams, triple teams, putting myself in position for my linebackers or the other D linemen to make plays. That's kind of leads to my other thing. I'm a huge, team person. The team is my head coach always, kind of drilled in my head. I'm a huge team player, and that kind of relates to my leadership. I thought I had a great leadership. I've been a team captain for the past 3 years. And I think I've been the leader of the defense for the past 2. And that kind of rallies around, me watching film, me getting the best out of everybody in practice, just picking everybody up when they're down, or just, drilling in their head, if you're doing this wrong, you need to do that. In the past, 4 years, we've been maybe a 1-loss team, we've been great in the regular season, and that transitions to win games. So I think, you can see definitely that, translating into, try to, go in there and just win as many games as possible.
Which coaches did you have good relationships with throughout your recruitment process? And then also, what have they told you they like about your game and stuff like that?
So most importantly, Tui, my position coach, he was kind of the biggest recruiter where I sat down and had the, long, lengthy conversations about, where he sees me playing at, how he can see me, or how the impact that he sees me on the field. So, of course, he was probably the number one recruiter. And just because, he's put so many guys in the league with all the schools he's been to, that was kind of a really eye-popper to me, because everybody's end goal, I think, when you go to the next level, is to make the league. I think that's everybody's end goal there. But, of course, Coach Klein, a Colorado native, recruits Colorado. He did a huge job, coming into see me sophomore, junior, freshman year, kind of starting the relationship out at a young age. He did a great job, since we have that Colorado connection, we can relate to a lot of things, especially with his experience here, coming to Colorado to Kansas State, and now staying there for, I think it was close to 16 years now. I'm not sure the exact number. But of course, the head coach, Chris Klieman, had the huge, probably the biggest impact, just because he's a defensive kind of minded guy, which I love, and just to see what he did at North Dakota State, and the translation to here, I think he's set in stone a great path, just not for this class, but just for K-State in his future in general. I think he has a great plan, and he kind of explain to me a lot of the things he's trying to do. And I'm 100%, following it. I love what he, is preaching to everybody else, the media, to us, which I'm excited about. And then last, Coach Kleinerman, he kind of had, this year's the new DC. I didn't get to talk to him as much as I would like to, but still, once he got that DC job, we connected ever since. We'll try to get together, once a week, and talk, football, life and everything like that. And because that's going to be the main guy, besides Tui, that you're going to be with, that's your guy. That's the guy you're going to go to battle with. That's the guy that's going to lead the troops. But, I think K-State as a whole has been the best set of coaches that has recruited me and showed me the most love, and that's why I chose Kansas State. Obviously, they've done it like no other school has done it for me before, and that's why I chose Kansas State.
So I understand that your college season, or your high school season started late and ended early, correct?
Yeah, so due to the pandemic, we got our high school season originally got canceled in the summer. And then up till I think maybe mid-September, it got, reinstated. So we had less than 2 weeks to prepare for our first game.
So how hard was that? You didn't get much football for your senior year. Obviously, I know you're busy in the weight room and stuff like that, and in watching film like you talked about. But how tough was that to not have a real senior season?
It was tough, but not tough at the same time, just because I'm so grateful to have that senior season. A week before it got reinstated, I was with my head coach writing up kind of something to tell my team I wasn't going to be there with them to play in the spring. And that was really hard on me just because, those are the kids I've been working with in the weight room, battling, just seeing the growth that we've been through for the past 4 years. And a lot of those guys, especially this team this year, was very, this is their first year starting varsity, and see what the success that we had this year, even though how weird the season was, it was remarkable. And I truly felt, blessed to be able to play my senior season. But again, it was very, very weird. Just because, it was a 6-game schedule. It was just all conference games. So with limited fans too, it was kind of weird seeing, we started out with maybe 175 total fans with both teams, at the start of the season for home games. And then you can see those numbers kind of get slow or decrease slowly and slowly. By the end of our senior night on our last regular season game, we only had our parents and the seniors. You're only allowed, your mom or dad, your grandfather and your mom, just something along those lines. And it was just weird because when they came down, on the field to, do the whole senior night thing, you look up in the stands and there's no one there. And that was really what it was kind of the weirdest thing the whole season. It was kind of going back to kind of youth ball. You're only playing, in front of your parents, grandparents, and your family. So it really kind of took me back to those kind of things because we weren't even allowed to have a locker room. We were on the sidelines the whole entire time. During halftime, we would just go to the end zone and kind of kneel by the goalpost. So that was definitely a little weird. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful to, play the 7 games. I wouldn't, trade it for anything in the world. I had a great time, but again, it was a little weird.
Also with with regards to the pandemic, you were originally supposed to go visit Manhattan back in March, correct? And then you ended up having to cancel that. And you were one of the few to actually catch a game live this season, as far as your signees go. You're one of the few to do that. So how cool was it to finally get out to Manhattan and really kind of explore campus and see what a game day can be like?
It was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I've been very grateful to see some of the top teams in the country play, and Kansas State as a whole in the community, and the fan base is up there with any other team up in the country. Even though there was 25% capacity, it was loud as can be. Everybody at the game was into it. They were cheering. They were going crazy. People were recognizing me, which really kind of stood out to me and made me feel like, wow, this is home. And especially, visiting the town, Aggieville, the night before, it was loud, crazy, it was just a sea of purple everywhere. Everybody was in K-State gear. You only saw barely any KU fans because that was the game I attended, was the KU Kansas State game. And it was just a really cool experience. And I was ecstatic to go before, and that was my first time going there to see Manhattan, and I was blown away. And that was kind of the day where I know, like, hey, I'm 100% in. This is where I want to be for the next 4 to 5 years of my life, and I can't think of a better place to play.
You talked about Manhattan, you talked about the coaches, all the environment, everything like that. But if you had to pinpoint, one specific thing that really did separate K-State from the other schools, what would that be?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but I would definitely have to say the culture there. The culture that the new coaching staff has brought into there, and what they're setting, I think is going to be spectacular. And especially, this year, and the amount of injuries they had, the amount of COVID issues they had, and still been able to do what they did this year. Because, looking at it from a just college football standpoint, you look at them and they're like, oh, they did all right. But if you really know what happened and see what they had to deal with and the work they put in and the amount of, adversity they had gone through, I couldn't be more proud to be, a Wildcat, just because I know what the coaches have been doing. I know what the young guys that they've been, doing there, and how many freshmen have been starting, what the seniors have been able to go through. I know it's hard being a senior, but they've had it gone through, and just what they're trying to do. And their biggest point is you're going to become a better man than a football player at Kansas State. I think that's the biggest point. They're looking at the 40-year plan, not the 4-year plan. Seniors right now already have jobs, have internships, and it's because, the culture that they're setting right there. Of course, the league's the goal, but they're setting you up for the 40-year plan rather than the 4-year plan.
Apart from Rubley, of course, which of the fellow signees in your class have you developed a close relationship with?
Besides Jake, obviously, Devontae Pritchard. I love the dude. He's probably the first or second that I'm closest to. RJ, I love him to death too. We've had a great relationship. We've got to get close. And then Gaven, we've gotten really close to. Besides that, Chris, I can't forget kicker Chris. He's a great dude. It was me and Gaven at the KU game, and then I saw Chris there too. So those only two besides Rubley that I saw in person, and they're great dudes, and that's another reason why I committed. Is just because you're bunched around great dudes. If you're at a school and you don't like the commits there, those are the guys you're going to be around for 4 to 5 years. That's the team that when you get your chance to be a senior, that's a team that you're going to push into the 4th gear, and this is where you lay your life on the line for those guys. And I couldn't think about like a bunch of better guys that I play for. They're great dudes, they're humble dudes. There's all around great guys.
Do you know who you're going to live with at K-State as far as the players go?
Yeah. So when I get up there in January, I'll be with Rubley, Devontae, and Austin Weiner.
Cool. That'll be a lot of fun, man. Last thing I got for you before we let you go, what is it that you really do want to accomplish by the time you're set to graduate? Do you have a personal goal, a team goal? What might that entail?
I think personal goals for me is, of course, first and foremost, to get an education there, finish up with one or more degrees. I think academics come first for me. It's a huge part of why I chose Kansas State. They have a great academic, facilities, and, their second biggest alumni program is in Denver, which is huge for me. That was another huge point. But team-wise and football-wise, my biggest thing is, you got to start small and work your way up. If you just have a goal, you want to win a national championship, it was like, well, what's going to come before that? So my biggest thing there is just to win games. And that will lead to, conference championship and then a national championship. My biggest thing is I want to bring a conference championship to Kansas State. I'm not for sure when the last time that was, but I think maybe when Coach Klein was there, but I think that's the biggest thing that we kind of have in mind for our classes, just to win that, win that conference championship. And they saw how close Kansas State was to making that conference championship game this year. And just to see what the young guys and what they've done, I think that's a huge goal for us and the team going forward. And just, all around, just make life friends for life, just be a part of a brotherhood that's going to, be lifelong, and to especially enjoying my time there. I've heard from everybody that college is going to be the best 4 years of your life. And I want to soak that in each day and each minute there. And because for me, I'm excited to, go venture off to a new part of the world, and kind of set my stone there and set up my future there.
Let's make it one final question here. I don't know if you mentioned it. What's your kind of career goal outside of football, and do you have a major picked out at K-State yet?
I do. I want to be around the business or sports management, somewhere in there. My lifelong goal, of course, if NFL doesn't work out, injury, don't make it. I want to stay around the game of football as long as I can, if that's coaching or being a sports agent, or just, somewhere in the, marketing team of a football team, or just around football in general. Just because I've been so grateful what this game's, been able to give me. So I kind of want to give back. That's kind of my biggest thing. Even that's, just being a high school coach, a youth coach, just kind of working my way up to that college coaching or even NFL coaching career. It's kind of my biggest goal at the end of the day. But at the end, I just want to be the best person I can possibly be. At the end of the day, if I'm happy doing whatever I'm doing, then I'm living my best life, because my dad said at a young age, if you're working hard and you're not loving your job, it's just going to lead to, a sad life. That's what I don't want to happen. So if I'm getting paid a little money, but I'm enjoying my life, then hey, I'm happy at the end of the day. And I think Kansas State, is better expectation than that. But I'm excited to, be a part of the Wildcat Nation.
All right, Brayden Wood, thank you so much for taking time with us. We'll go ahead and send it back out to Ryan Wallace.
Picture this nightmare scenario. You're hosting friends for the big game. It's neck and neck in the fourth quarter, and suddenly you realize you're out of drinks. You start to sweat. Your friends start to turn on you. You're forced to go on a last-second drink run and end up missing the game-winning touchdown while in line. Terrifying, isn't it? Luckily, you can avoid the drama with Drizzly, the go-to app for drink delivery. With Drizzly, you can shop a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits, then get them delivered right to your watch party. Compare prices across multiple stores in your area, find the best deals on game day drinks, and get back to armchair quarterbacking from, you guessed it, your armchair. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today. Must be 21 plus, not available in all locations.
Pleasure to be joined now by offensive line commitment and signee Andrew Leingang. First off, let's start right there with the name. For all the fans out there that might think might be pronounced another way, let's hear it from you, Andrew. It is Leingang, correct?
Correct, Leingang.
All right, there it is. Well, let's start with your high school season and your career real quick, Andrew. 23-0, if I'm not mistaken, as an upperclassman. North Dakota 3A Senior Athlete of the Year. Is there anything that you didn't accomplish that sort of eats at you, or are you pretty satisfied?
I just feel like being part of that Century football program was an unbelievable experience. I feel like I had a great support staff around me there, great coaches, great teammates who pushed me to be the best person and best player I could be every day. And I'm just so grateful to have all those guys in my life and to get me to this point.
Nationally televised game right out of the gate for you. Describe what that was like, just kind of in the school and around town, how cool that was.
Oh, it was really cool. Hearing that ESPN was coming to North Dakota to broadcast a football game. It was really awesome. I feel like it was a unique opportunity for the state of North Dakota itself, and it was just so awesome to be able to be a part of something like that.
And I would imagine you had family, friends, K-State fans were obviously able to watch you. Was your social media kind of on fire after that game?
Yeah, a little bit. I know a lot of people reached out. Like I said, it was just an awesome experience, just being able to be a part of something like that.
You said before in an interview that there's no better feeling than taking someone across from you to their breaking point. Has there ever been a player that you haven't been able to break? Do you ever think you will come to against an opponent that you won't feel confident you can break them down?
You know what? I've played against some great players here in North Dakota, and I know there's definitely going to be a challenge once I get to K-State and get to the Big 12. It's definitely going to be a challenge, and I'm just looking forward to that challenge, just being better every day, just keeping my head down, going to work, and it's something I'm looking forward to, and just priding myself on that hard work and just being able to do something like that.
Reminds me, there was a quote, I think, of Brian Dawkins back on the Eagles where he used to tell people he would take people's souls. And that kind of reminded me of that. In your mind, and you're obviously very humble, but for a second, maybe step out of that for a moment, because in your mind, who is the greatest football recruit to ever come out of the state of North Dakota? And are you ready to admit, at least from a recruiting standpoint, that you should be in that conversation?
Honestly, North Dakota, they had some great football players here. I know Carson Wentz. I went to high school with Carson, and he ended up going to NDSU. Connor McGovern, who went to Missouri and went to the New York Jets. There's a lot of great players, and I'm just so honestly humbled to be a part of that group like that. And I'm just happy to be at the point where I am. And honestly, the recruiting cycle, it's so awesome. But for me, I understand that it's all going to just take when I get there and just being able to take all of my everything I have and get to that point, get on campus. And like I said, it's just time to get to work. I feel like the recruiting process, it's an unbelievable experience being able to talk to some great universities, but it's all business at the end of the day, and that's just kind of how I go about things.
Your high school coach, Coach Wingenbach, told our Adam Suderman in an interview earlier this fall that you were 6'3", 190 as a freshman. Did you ever kind of see yourself being in this spot in this sport 4 years ago?
You know, I've always loved football from all the way Pee-wee football all the way up. And as a freshman, like you said, I was about 6'3", 190. And that summer, I know there was an opportunity that I could start at offensive guard or somewhere on the O-line. And I really pushed myself, worked hard. I got up to 225 my sophomore year. And from there, I just knew like football was my thing. I enjoyed the physical nature of the game. And just from there on, I just prided myself on doing the little things right. You know what? Like eating right, sleeping right, and then just doing things in the weight room that will get me to the best point where I can be.
Being kind of a lighter O-lineman in those early years, did it force you to kind of become a little bit more technically savvy? And do you feel like that helped once you got the weight on later in your high school career?
I definitely say so. I know I've always feel like I've been a pretty assignment strong offensive lineman at Century, and I credit a lot of that to my coaches putting me in that position and just kind of knowing that hand placement, what I'm doing, using some of those mental IQs. And then once I started putting on that weight and putting on that strength, it just felt like everything came together, you know?
I'm glad you brought up the sleep and the nutrition part of it, you know, because, again, you know, we've talked to a bunch of people throughout the course of your recruitment just to kind of get a better idea of who you are as a player and a person. And Coach Weiss at Sanford Power, and I think he does some stuff with Century as well, he had mentioned that you're big on details about sleep and nutrition. Share with us a little bit more about, you know, those details of things, like what went into your nutrition this off season. When you talk about sleep, what are you exactly getting at there, and how'd you get up to 275?
You know what? I just feel like Coach Wise does an awesome job with the Century program, and at Sanford Power, I know he preaches what to do right, and I thank him for everything he's done for me. And I know this summer I would have a big breakfast. I love making breakfast, making about 4 eggs, 2 pieces of toast, and then some sort of protein in there, protein shake. And then from there, I just snack throughout the day, PB&Js, stuff like that. And then lunch, dinner, and just eating the right stuff, because it's what you put inside your body that really, like, you know what, helps you. And a lot of people take that for granted. That's how you kind of grow, not only like physically, but it's just how you grow. And I know sleep is so important. I worked out at 6 a.m. every morning throughout the summers, and I know I made sure I wanted to get to bed at least by 10. At least 8 hours of sleep is something that I would always try to focus on, 9:30, 10. And like I said, Coach Weiss has done an awesome job just reiterating those details for us and helping us get to the point that we've been.
Where are you at now as far as height and weight go?
I'm with the fro. I'd probably say I'm about 6'7", but honestly, right now, I'd say without shoes, without everything, I'd probably about 6'5", and then right now I'm about 275, 280. And for me, I know the weight. I just feel like I want to go into K-State feeling explosive. You know, being able to move well, move explosively, and then being able to bend. Because I know once I get there, they'll be able to put some weight on me and do it the right way. So. And
you mentioned the hair before we started recording. You describe it as a Jackie Moon. Is there are there other taglines that maybe your friends and teammates have tagged it?
I know Jackie Moon, something that always comes up. It'd be a pretty funny Halloween costume. But I had an afro in my 8th grade year, and I said the only time I'm going to bring it back out is my senior year of football, and now it's back. And we had a little hair contest, me, Bryant, and then some of the recruits. And right now, I think the fro is doing pretty well.
Yes, you've got Coach Pratt beat in that one. Speaking of the coaches real quick, when did you remember your first kind of meeting with Coach Riley and Coach Klieman, and what stood out about that first time you got to talk with them?
Actually, so Coach Riley, I want to say I was a freshman, and there was a offensive line camp or line of scrimmage camp at VCSU, Valley City in North Dakota, and Coach Riley was obviously at NDSU, and he came to that camp for one day and just kind of worked with some of the old linemen, worked some drills. And I just remember he just got on you well, and I just enjoyed someone like that, just coaching in his style and being able to talk to those guys. I'm so excited to play for guys like that and the staff as a whole. I'm really just looking forward to playing for those guys.
Is there a conversation that you had, or was there a moment that you had in considering K-State that you felt was the linchpin as far as them winning over your recruitment, where you said, you came home, looked at your parents or whatever and said, that's it, that's where I want to be?
Honestly, throughout the whole recruiting process, there was always a gut feeling like Manhattan might be the place where I'm going to succeed for these next 4 or 5 years. And it was always that gut instinct throughout the process. I continue to have my options open. And once it got down to deciding, I just kind of felt like Kansas State would be a great home for me for the next 4 or 5 years.
You can play just about anywhere on the offensive line. Has Coach Riley talked about a specific spot? Do you have a specific spot where if you had it your way, a position that you would like to start with at least?
Coach Riley, I know, has told me play a little swing, so a little guard and tackle. And for me, I played everywhere on our central line besides center. And even in the summers when our skill guys are running routes and throwing a little bit, I'll mess around a little bit and do some center snaps and work on that a little bit. But honestly, I just want to be as versatile as I can and just being able to fill some of those holes and just get there to the point where I know those different positions. Because if I know some of those different positions, I feel like it'll just help me understand the offense better, schemes, and I'm just so excited for the opportunities ahead.
One more thing I wanted to ask you just about being a lineman. Youngest of, if I'm not mistaken, you have 2 older brothers?
Yep.
Did that help toughen you up? I mean, is that why you are the way you are when you kind of get in the trenches?
I'd say so. I know my brothers, being the youngest brother, it's a little tough, especially in those early years. But I just think my parents, my brothers, they've done such a good job kind of guiding me throughout this process. And honestly, I enjoy being an offensive lineman. I feel like it's a job where a lot of people might say, but for me, I just feel like I have that team first attitude, and that's the one thing I want to do is win games, and I'll do whatever I can to do to help contribute to our team success.
What sort of individual kind of outlook do you have for yourself, or is there an expectation, kind of a bar that Coach Riley has kind of set for you in some of your latest conversations?
I know Coach Riley and I have talked about a little bit, just getting there, just doing the little things right. And honestly, if I can maybe play in a few games before my redshirt gets up, that'd be awesome. That's a goal of mine, and to get in some of those games, I feel like that'd be really cool. But I know first and foremost, I just want to get in there, get in the system, the weights, the nutrition, and start doing the things and just work hard and see where it takes me.
Have you bonded with anybody in this class? Is there kind of a guy that you talk with more than another?
Yeah, I know I have a lot of good buds from the class. I know we have a group chat, and then we have fantasy league that we always mess around with. But I know Austin, the other O-line commit, I've been able to grow. Gavin, Devontae, B. Wood, a lot of those guys are just some guys I'm looking forward to competing with every day, and just some people I'm looking forward to just being with. So
let's round out the interview with some fun stuff. Let's talk hobbies for a minute, Andrew. What do you do when you need a break from football, when you need a break from training? Where do you go? Where does your mind go?
Honestly, I know video games, I'll do video games here and there, but in the past few months, I haven't been big video games. But honestly, hunting and fishing is obviously something I enjoy doing, and honestly, just hanging out with friends and family is always something that I enjoy doing.
So Tuttle Creek might be a spot that fans could find you off the field in the future?
I'd say so, yes.
One other thing that I want to ask you about, being from North Dakota, what is cold to you? How cold does it have to get before you say, okay, I'm cold?
That's tough, because some of these winters are -50 with wind chill. I know. I got done with a weights workout at the school, and while I walked out, I got to my car and I noticed my eyebrows were just frozen just from that little sweat, and I was like, wow. And that's something honestly, it's just North Dakota, and you gotta do what you gotta do. So
the good news is I don't think you'll have that problem when you leave the Veneer complex, so that's a good thing. Andrew, thank you so much for taking some time to talk recruiting with us. Congratulations on officially signing with the K-State Wildcats.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Let's head out now to Hays, Kansas, where Gaven Haselhorst is standing by. Gaven, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. We appreciate you taking time with us. But let's get right into it here. What separated K-State from all the other schools in your recruitment process?
They were the first Division I school to offer me, and I think they took a really good shot on me, and I really appreciate that from them. So.
You're carrying the flag as kind of the top-rated, prospect out of Kansas. What does that mean to you? How do you feel about it? And how do you go about? I would say having a target on your back, but you're one of the top prospects here in the state. So how do you go about that?
I worked my butt off for it, so I'm proud of it. But I'm not cocky about it at all. I still got a lot further to go.
So talking about having, further to go, what does that entail for you? What are you kind of doing in the weight room, in the film room? How are you trying to get better as a football player before you officially head off to K-State?
Basically just bigger, faster, stronger. And then when I get this playbook, I'm going to study my butt off for that too.
Which coaches would you say you have the best relationship with right now, and which ones really helped K-State get separated from the other schools in your recruitment process?
Coach Stannard, my linebacker coach, I love him. And Taylor Brett, I've been talking to him a lot, and I feel like I can tell him anything. So
we get those answers a lot, especially with Brett. So what do you like about him, and what does he kind of bring to the table at K-State?
He's a funny person. I love him.
Do you think we'll see you more on the defensive line, at the linebacker position? Have you kind of gotten a little feedback as to what they like in your game and where you'll play on the field at K-State?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm playing inside linebacker.
Gotcha. Have you been keeping up with the team this season? Obviously, they lost 5 in a row to finish out the season, but they won their first 4 conference games and had a lot of big plays in those games. How excited are you, to play for this team? But more importantly, what did you take away from watching them on TV this past season?
Actually, I went to a couple of their games too, and I loved it there. So,
what did you like about it?
Just the whole environment. Everybody's a family.
You're from Hays, so was it kind of KU, K-State, another school out there that you always rooted for, or were you pretty neutral in that?
I was pretty neutral until now.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite, someone in your class that you've really kind of connected with at this point in time? As far as your signees go, do you know who your favorite, potential teammates might be?
Me and Darrell Jones have been talking a lot. He's one of my really good friends already, so. And I'm going to be rooming with him too. So.
Cool. We touched on this a little earlier, but how tough was it with the pandemic to really try to, progress yourself as a player?
It didn't affect me as much as I thought it would. I still figured out different ways to get the grind in. So,
thank you so much for tuning in to GoPowercat's 2020 Signing Day show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Be sure to stay locked in on GoPowercat.com to stay up to date with each of these 14 new recruits.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.